to the St. Regis Hotel in Washington, D.C. President Obama will be addressing business leaders. Just about set to do that, by the way. One business leader not in attendance, not too happy with all of this tax talk. Joe Piotrowski is the CEO of Gulf Oil. Joseph, always good seeing you.
Great.
So much to talk to you about. But first off, on this creative taxation. I mean, last time we chatted, you were saying they're very good at coming up with ways to tax, sometimes not nearly as creative with ways to cut back on spending, but be that as it may, what do you make of this effort, and what is it going to mean to business?
Well, I think the proposed cap and trade is going to be an enormous tax. If you look at
that's essentially a big energy tax for everybody.
Huge energy tax. I think if you look at it, just let's take gasoline. The average gallon of gasoline produces about 20 pounds of gas when it combines with oxygen. When we had cap and trade in Europe, at the low end, $20 a ton is how carbon was priced. At the high end, $80 a ton.
But are your colleagues okay with it? Part of the energy industry, and I know he's meeting with the Business Roundtable folks in Washington. How do they feel about them? You hobnob with these guys. I mean, are they okay with this? Or are they saying, well, times are desperate, we have to do desperate and unusual things? What?
No, I think, honestly, a lot of people are afraid to speak out publicly against the carbon tax because our obsession with carbon and global warming has become almost a religion. And that's not to say we don't have problems, but I think in the short term, a tax that would be, in our estimation, between $140 and $400 billion tax on the U.S. consumer, which is an extraordinary tax.
Well, they're making it sound like it's a tax on you guys, and it's sort of like a bullseye on your hiney. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, anybody who knows anything about that knows economics. All business taxes eventually are paid by individuals.
But you're the boogeyman, you know? And I'm not saying that's right or justified, but that's how it's kind of being played.
Gasoline today is a very taxed item. Energy is taxed directly today in state and federal taxes. Our average state and federal tax is about 60 cents a gallon. The consumer's paying that at the pump. The oil companies.
And what if there's something more Machiavellian going on here, if I can sound so crazy? They're just trying to put you out of business.
I don't think so. I don't think it's that cynical. I think they want to raise taxes. I think it's a very subtle, it's also a very regressive tax, by the way, because it's really going to fall more on working people.
They don't like oil. The added sort of drilling incentives that candidate Obama promised are nowhere to be found in the budget of President Obama. So I'm kind of following the dots here.
Oh, I would agree with you that they don't like oil. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense that we continue to prohibit domestic drilling and that we refuse to open up a lot of lands for leasing. Even if you didn't believe in energy security, even if you didn't believe in the best treatment for the environment is economic development and wealth creation, even if you solely had an objective just for the environment, it would be better off to drill domestically than to bring two-thirds of our oil in by vessel, just from an environmental.
But I talked to your counterpart at ExxonMobil last week, and do you guys ever kind of let Washington know, say what you will of us, we're your single largest sector taxpayer. We pay the most taxes, and you've got a lot of people whose tax contribution is rapidly declining.
You can make that argument, and I'm sure it's made. I like to make the argument what's best for the country. And putting a close to $400 billion tax and arbitrarily pushing us to fuels that are more expensive, when the rest of the world, we need to compete, and we happen to be in still stressful economic times, despite the last two-day rally, just doesn't make sense for us as Americans. And I think we make the argument is, don't protect the oil business, but don't shackle the oil business or make them the boogeyman. In fact, we need to have cheap energy, and in fact, drilling in the United States, and this is the other reason why domestically, is if you, again, only favor the environment, where do you think we're going to be more responsible in handling and drilling oil? In the United States or off the coast of Nigeria? So if you solely cared about the environment, you would want to allow us to be energy independent.
That almost sounds like a threat.
No, we would never, ever want to.
Well, Joseph, very good seeing you again. Joe Piotrowski, the CEO of Gulf Oil. Very good seeing you.
Thank you.